Hey everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and I am here to show you the latest and greatest 5-0 finish I've had in a Legacy League. It is a very fresh look at Legacy Merfolk, and I will give you all the reasons why. So the two biggest changes in this list than traditional lists is I am playing with Cosi's Trickster in replacement of Curse Catcher, and I'm also playing with Spell Pierce instead of Chalice of the Void. Tell you all you Delver players, I am after you Delver players, yes, that's right. And as you might have followed this channel, talking with John Cosi and also from my own personal experience, I can only muster up like 50% against the Delver decks. It's not enough that you have Chalice of the Void in your deck. They are so mana efficient with Deathrite Shaman, and even if you get Chalice of the Void out, then boom, they're going to play Young Pyromancer, they can play Gurmag Angler, or True Name Nemesis. And even like with Young Pyromancer out, I mean, they can play two Young Pyromancers, empty their hand of 1-drops right into Oblivion, into the Chalice of the Void, create a billion tokens, and then finish that off by casting a Gurmag Angler. And do you know what? That can happen as early as turn 3 or turn 4, and you are... Generally, you don't have much on the board at that point. You have like maybe one creature and they can go super wide against you. So I'm looking for more high impact cards. Curse Catcher, I feel, it still has some application against some decks, but I don't like the power level. The Legacy is just too mana efficient. Everyone has mana available to them. Deathrite Shaman just makes it so hard to counter anything against those Delver decks. So I want power. I want Cosi's Trickster. Cosi's Trickster is pretty big against almost all the Legacy decks. Almost everything searches their library on a fairly regular basis. One big problem I have with Cosi's Trickster in Modern is that there aren't many decks that shuffle their library. Not everyone has fetch lands. A lot of people are using fast lands, and then some of the decks that are using fetch lands, they can wait to crack them for turn 4 and 5. That's a problem. But in Legacy, not so much. The fact that Cosi's Trickster can get big at all very late in the game is still important because most of those decks are blue decks. And the fact that Cosi's Trickster just randomly becomes a 3/3 or 4/4 creature is going to help when we get our Island Walk Lords, put them on the battlefield, and attack for way more damage than Curse Catcher ever could. So like the big deal is that Curse Catcher not effective enough against these Deathrite Shaman decks. It's really annoying, so I want something that at least can put a little bit more power on the board. And you look at decks like Maverick and stuff like that, the non-blue decks, it's also very difficult to counter anything. So and you know, if you look at Death and Taxes, you've got Curse Catcher, we've got Cosi's Trickster. Cosi's Trickster at least can get a little bit bigger when Stoneforge Mystic enters the battlefield and looks through the library and shuffle it. Curse Catcher is almost always just going to be a 1/1 creature with a lot of trouble countering anything. Like, it's got to be some situation where there's like a Thalia, Guardian of Thraben on the board, and your opponent wants to play Swords to Plowshares on you or something like that. But like, you know, very, very rare, very situational. I don't really like Chalice all that much in Legacy. I mean, I know it's powerful, but like I said, I have lost too many times to good Delver players when I have a Chalice on the board that I don't have any faith in it anymore. If I can't beat Delver that is full of 1-drops like Ponder and Probe and Gitaxian Probe, then there's something wrong. And the reason I lose is they can still tempo me out with like a bunch of Delvers very early on. It's hard to race a deck with Deathrite Shaman. It's very, very difficult. The Deathrite Shaman gains them life or drains you, increasing their clock. They've got several win conditions that do not care about Chalice of the Void, like Young Pyromancer, Gurmag Angler, and True Name Nemesis. So I want something that is more flexible. And in this league, let me tell you, I beat an Enchantress, I beat Miracles, I beat Delver, I beat Shardless Bug, and I beat a Maverick deck. Spell Pierce countered all sorts of things that Chalice of the Void never would have. I countered like Helm of Obedience, I countered Counterspell, I countered Force of Will, I countered Green Sun Zenith, just many high impact cards. One counter wars with this damn thing, and on top of that, I can still counter Brainstorms and Spell Pierces on turn 1. And do you know what? Those are the most important. I can still counter Ponders and Brainstorms on turn 1, and those are the most important Ponders and Brainstorms because, you know, their hand could be just sort of weak, and they made their keep based on that Ponder or Brainstorm to help fix and curve themselves out. But if we can counter that very first one, then they're in shaky ground. So yeah, Spell Pierce overperformed for me, loved it. I don't know which one's more important. Cosi's Trickster definitely helped me win some games, helped push through more damage than I normally would against the Delver deck and Shardless Bug. Definitely helped me beat Enchantress. There was a really funny scenario where I had 2 Cosi's Tricksters very early in the game, and my opponent was not cracking their fetch lands because they would just make them really big. But at some point, they tried to go for the win by cracking their fetch lands, making my Cosi's Tricksters really big, and they tried to play Helm of Obedience in order to win the game, which I Spell Pierced, and then I had a 2-turn clock, and then I finished out the game. It's possible that Curse Catcher should still be in this spot because it has pretty good synergy with Spell Pierce, but I'd really like to try out Cosi's Trickster. A little bit more of an aggressive card. Oh! Let me tell you, against that Maverick deck, that was hilarious when they had Neither Reliquary out. Think about it. Every single time they sacrifice a land to find a new one and make the Neither Reliquary bigger, Cosi's Trickster gets bigger. You have a 7/7 Neither Reliquary. I have a 7/7 Cosi's Trickster. Cosi got huge. It was really funny, absolutely hilarious. Now I have no complaints about the main deck. I really like Harbinger bounces, Dark Depths also bounces. You know, the general Delver stuff. It's the sideboard. I'm not finalized on any of this stuff at all. In fact, I forgot to put Misdirection in the sideboard. I would like to play more with Misdirection. I'm tired of losing to Delver decks because I still have cards in my hand. We need to use those cards, and I want to use their spells against them. Use those Pyroblasts on their Delver of Secrets themselves, or their Fatal Pushes on their Deathrite Shamans. I'm willing to go for the 2-for-1. Well, it's going to be a 2-for-2 so long as it resolves, but I'm willing to risk a 2-for-1 in order to do that. So I will replace some number of cards in the sideboard for Misdirection, and I think that's the only big adjustment I would make. I can't say that any of these cards made a big difference in the post-board games. I think Tidebinder Mage showed a little something. Dismember did something. It killed like a Mother of Runes. But yeah, this is just a different direction I want to take the Legacy deck. I'm interested. Now that I'm done my exams, I have a lot of interesting ideas I want to pour out and play test. And this was the first of a few. And I think Curse Cat, as the curve of everything has gone down, I've lost more and more faith in Curse Catcher. And I suspect the same thing in Modern. So no, it's not finalized. Maybe we're gonna bring Curse Catcher back, but I definitely want to try to start playing with Spell Pierce instead of Chalice of the Void. So far it feels right and makes the deck feel less clunky. We have more 1-drops available to us instead of very few 1-drops with Ether Vial and Curse Catcher, and then like a bunch of 2-drops. This is just much more mana efficient. So let me know what you guys think. You got to see it here first before, the Wizards of the Coast publishing thing puts it, and posts it. And if you're ever wondering why I came up to this list, well, this is why. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been Nikachu showing you guys his latest list in Legacy Merfolk.